Hello and a warm welcome back. Today on the bench is a Sanyo music centre. Our friend Ian kindly gave this to me for my daughter Molly. Even though I've got a really nice record player for my daughter, daughters being daughters, she doesn't like that one. It's too big apparently. I've also got high quality bloody stuff. I built it up well ramp, but again, she knows what she wants. Yeah, let's not go there. There's a whole minefield there. Anyway, this is this sort of music centre was about in the 1970s, early 80s, and was pretty typical of what a lot of people had to listen to music on. I had a similar sort of system to listen to music on. I certainly didn't have quad amplifiers and Ditton speakers and all the rest of it, so this was it for a lot of people. It does have one thing going for it, in that it's sort of all these speakers here just all fit in and onto the music centre, so you can sort of carry it about. And if you look over at the back there, it has a battery compartment so that you could run this without any mains power. Actually, I'm going to turn that off just for the moment because I've just got it bodged in. So at the moment I've got a record on there, a test record, The Villain by Lieutenant Pigeon. Who remembers them? Just got it on the variac and the lamp limiter. I've no idea how this thing works, but anyway, hold on, let's try and turn the bugger on. Right, I can hear some buzzing AC hum in the speakers, on the speaker there, so that doesn't work. The turntable doesn't work, and really that's the only bit that she wants, the turntable. Although it does have a tape, but I have no tape to play on it because tapes that I used to have back in the 80s and whatnot, 90s, are long gone. It has a radio station, but there aren't many radio stations around anymore. Oh dear, the state of things in 2024. Things have changed a hell of a lot since 1980. But I shall take it apart and see if I can get the record player working and take it from there. Well, there's the view underneath, and looking at the construction and the other sort of clues that are on here, for instance, I can't see an IC anywhere. I can't see an integrated circuit absolutely anywhere. And the other thing I think that dates this to the early 70s possibly is these are the audio amplifier main output devices, and they look to me like germanium, that sort of package. I can't remember whether it's TO5 or something like that, but they're probably something, I don't know, without taking it all out, but I would guess we're looking at germanium output devices. The other thing that leads me to that conclusion are these two transformers here, which are, I think, like driver transformers for the output stage. So this construction, very early 70s, so basically they were still finding a way with transistor amplifiers and still sort of treating them a bit like valves. So that's why I think it's early 70s, although I could well be wrong. I can't find any real dates anywhere on any of the components, but yeah, I think early 70s. Anyway, I found out why the isn't working. The turntable. I mean, this is pretty skanky, it's going to need some clean, but it's basically a very simple driving sort of mechanism. We've got the motor here, and we've got this disc here, this rubber disc that's on a sprung armature, and that rubs against the inside of the turntable platter and drives the turntable hopefully at the correct speed. And I found out why. Let me just bob you back up again. Found out why it's probably not working. As you can see, the mounts for the motor have all turned to goo, so it might just be a case of finding 3 grommets or 3 sort of rubber washers of the correct size to do that. Obviously it will need a bit of a clean, but it's a squeak. It's a very, very, very simple mechanism. I mean, all there is, this is the speed control, and all that does, if we go over here, so as I do that, that just moves the thing up or down, and so we've got like this spindle coming out of the motor here. So we've got a big diameter, intermittent diameter, smaller diameter. Obviously that just, you know, dictates the speed. What do you call it? Alters the gearing. The power supply for the this is the AC power supply for this what do you call it, music center, is really ultra simple. That isn't even a bridge rectifier, that is just 2 diodes in a package, and so it's half wave rectified, oh sorry, full wave rectified. And it looks like this capacitor here has spilled its guts, or something has, and it's all over there. So yeah, that's it, 2 diodes and 1 capacitor. So it looks like a very low voltage sort of device. Yeah, it's very basic. I've never seen anything as basic as this, apart from in some old radios and things like that. I've taken off the 220 microfarad capacitor, the main smoothing capacitor for the power supply, as far as I can see. As you can see, there's a lot of detritus on the board. However, some of that is some sort of glue that I think the capacitor was originally stuck down with, similar to this stuff here. And I don't know whether the electrolyte, leaking electrolyte from the capacitor has then chemically changed the glue or something, but you can see there that we've got a bit of sort of, looks like verdigris, so I would think like the electrolyte at the capacitor has attacked the traces on the board. Testing the capacitor on an ESR meter. Shows, well, sort of leaves a bit dodgy, that needs rebuilding. Well, that shows the ESR as being okay. However, if we try measuring the capacitance, sorry, the meter is really skanky, I only use it for measuring capacitance, and it comes out as 324 microfarads, which is way over its specification, even allowing for the 10% sort of spec on most electrolytic capacitors. And the higher capacitance is an indication that the capacitor is either on its way out or is, yeah, knackered. I want to give that a bit of a clean up with some isopropyl alcohol. I don't think it will knacker the board up. Right, that's a lot cleaner. Just find a rag. Bit difficult to get in there. One interesting thing I've noted about the power supply, which I think is a little bit odd, these two wires here, that was elasticated down there, those two wires go to the motor. The negative, basically this is a full wave rectified power supply as far as I can see. Basically just two diodes in there, one going from each of these yellow wires to a common down here which goes through this 10 ohm resistor, which then goes to one side of the capacitor. However, the ground, as it were, doesn't go to the negative terminal of the capacitor. Damn. From what I can see, that negative of the capacitor is connected through the motor, so the motor is sort of acting like a choke. So well, it isn't acting like a choke, or is it? I don't understand quite what the hell is going off there. I've tried to get a service manual for this, but having trouble at the moment logging onto the forum where it is located. So yeah, no idea what the hell's going off there. I shall change the capacitor and then set about getting all the gunk out of the battery compartment, which I'll just use some acid, and then I also need to get the gunk, the detritus, whatever you call it, residue that's left over from the disintegrating, I presume some sort of rubberized plasticky sort of washes that have rotted away. To get all the gunk off, or most of the gunk off these collets, shall we call them, I've had them soaking in some isopropyl alcohol. I'm just using an M2.5 mil. What's that? 2M5 bolt screw, and I'm trying a screwdriver and whatnot. Oh god, really sticky and horrible these are. It's like it's trying to steal the cash from the treacle factory. Try and do it in frame, old chap. Right, put that in there. Alright, and now everything is really sticky. Right, you get the idea, hopefully. And this one has come off, oops, pretty easily. It's not a very good idea. Oh, let's try again. I found I couldn't get it off using the chisel, screwdriver like that very well. Right, oops. Anyway, you get the idea. That one's cleaned up alright. I'm going to do that off camera, it's far easier. Right, hopefully you can see that. I haven't put this pot in yet. The only pot I can find to replace the 220 microfarad 10 volt one is a 35 volt 470 microfarad cap. I'm really low on capacitors at the moment. I've got some coming in the post, but the bloke who I get them off is a little, he likes to take his time. Anyway, so I'll bung that in, and then I've got to wire the motor in, which is going to also present a similar sort of problem. So the sort of dilemma is the word I was looking for. The dilemma I've got is the mounts for the motor, which turn to liquid, are they your conventional type rubber grommet, so that the rubber grommet sits sort of either side of this metal plate, mounting plate here, or are they like half a rubber grommet sort of shape? And the reason I think that it might be the latter is, it's really a bit hard to show you these, some quite small parts. So these are the sort of mounting collets that came off, and as you saw, all the previous absorbent material that was in there had turned to mush. So if I put that in there, as you can see, it only, well, it doesn't even reach to the end of the grommet. Then if I put the mounting screw in there, you'll see that there's very little thread actually pops in there. So let's say we squidge that down a bit. I don't know what I should do. I should try using the grommet all in one piece sort of thing, and if not, then I'll have to cut them down. Well, that's the mounter. That's the motor mounted. The power supply resistor, capacitor replaced, soldered in. Together with all the rubber grommets as aforementioned, and that looks to me like that should do. And that makes sense, because if, for instance, I'd have cut one of those rubber grommets in half and it had only been like sort of vibration free this way, then the motor would be sitting hard up against this plate and wouldn't be vibration free. So it has to sit, and those grommets have to be either side of this mounting plate, which is what I'm trying to articulate but struggling to do. Right, next we have this weird arse AC mains connector here, which I haven't got I probably could find one, probably get one and everything, but it'd be far easier to replace it with your standard sort of figure of 8 style connector, which I shall do now. To replace the power connector, mains power connections, I was going to use, where the hell have I put it? Was going to use one of these figure of 8 styly things, but mounting it would be a little bit problematic, so I thought, right, I'll just use a figure of 8 lead, chop the end off, and then I've saved over the years loads of these cable, what do you call them, cable secure things, they just secure the cable. I mean, it would be simpler just to drill a hole, bung a grommet in there and then tie it, but I'll see if I can fettle it so that I can get one of them on there, which would be a little bit more professional. The lead will wind up and fit in here, no problem. Like that. And then this lead will go in this bit here. Well, as you can hear, it works ish. It's I wouldn't say this is hi-fi, would you? Just turn it down a bit. so obviously it works. However, you can hear some wow and flutter there. And then the other thing, which I shall try and demonstrate, I don't know if the microphone on the camera will pick it up. The left channel is quieter. I don't think that's a issue with the amplifier, although I'm not entirely sure. I suspect it's a problem with the actual, well, maybe not, maybe the cartridge, maybe the stylus. I would think the stylus has seen better days. It looks like it has. Unfortunately, these styluses for these, from what I've read online, are quite hard to find. You can get cheap Chinese styluses, but it might mean changing the cartridge. I mean, my daughter's on about playing like LPs on this thing. I wouldn't go anywhere near it with any of my records, even the really knackered ones. Let's see if I can find a really knackered LP, see what that sounds like. I found an LP. I don't know where the hell it came from. Oh, let me knock you up a bit to get you in the frame. BB King apparently. Right, so this must be 33 or thereabouts. Let's try that. I mean, it works, but hardly any left. It could actually be the sockets here. I hadn't thought about that. Right, let me have a play, see if I can get it to play a little bit better. Well, the radio works. So I thought I'd check the radio out to see whether it was an amplifier issue or a cartridge stylus issue. Let me just, still not. Right, hold on. You've got to wind them sends up yet. Come on, lads, get cracking. Right, so it's not an amplifier issue, pretty certain about that. Oh, boogie. Oh.
No. And we need something to accompany your beautiful dress. Like I said, I haven't seen it before.
Oh, the archers! Raw!
Let me look properly. Here, stand on the ottoman.
Hold on, check. How do you turn it off? Right. Okay, so not a problem there, but the stylus obviously needs a look at, and maybe the cartridge. More later. Oh, one last thing before I forget. I looked up at the date of when these came out, 1972, so I wasn't far off, was I? Early 70s. Hurrah! We'll have to sodding about with it. Trying to clean up the contacts where it contacts the cartridge, you know, the wires and all that. I've not been able to get it any better. So yeah, it's either the cartridge or the stylus. I've had a look at the stylus. There's like a little mountain that the needle rides up and down on. That looks flexible and everything. So yeah, I don't know. One thing I did notice Down you go. Woo. Let me just lift this up, turn it on to radio or whatever. The one thing that is really iffy is, like, I don't think I've got that on there properly, but as you can see, it's yeah, not very good. I don't know whether there's supposed to be some sort of plastic sort of dampening there. I can't imagine that is how it's supposed to be. Tracking weight, I don't know, we haven't got there, but as you can see, it's iffy, innit? Like I say, I wouldn't go anywhere near it with anything half decent vinyl wise. So there you go. This isn't by any means a restore. This is just me mucking about, see if I can get it halfway working. But as you can hear, or maybe you can, I don't know, I never know what this microphone's going to pick up. It's got a lot of AC hum, but volume halfway, it's not too bad. I suspect there's probably quite a few capacitors maybe want changing in the audio path, and obviously it needs a new cartridge probably, and all the rest of it, and well, yeah, it needs a new record player really, but I don't know, it is what it is. Back in the day, I mean, these were, you know, this is all it was, like I said, and this is what we had to play records on for the most part. It was either that or, you know, like an old Dansette or Bush, that type thing, mono record player, which is what I listened to, all, you know, the early singles, Stranglers, Sex Pistols, Sabbath and all the rest of them. That's what I listened to on until, like, I got something like this for my 16th birthday, and yeah, I don't know, it sounded alright to me at the time. It's only obviously in retrospect, having listened to some half decent hi-fi, that they don't sound so good, but yeah, I don't know, it's alright for what it is. So that's about it, lads and lasses. Thank you very much for watching. Something a bit different. Take care of yourselves. Ta-ra for now.